today, by the way, we're going to spend a lot on option buying. I'll be very honest with you. Now, you may say, I don't like option buying. But there are times when option buying can be a very, very excellent investment technique. And even though I do what is called option writing most of the time, there are times when I do option buying. In many cases, it's for hedging, for protection, or in some cases, it's because things just get too cheap. And I go in there and start buying just because the premiums get much too low. So basically, I kind of am going to cover the whole realm from option buying to option writing. And by the way, option buying is better in one sense that you don't have to risk much. You can buy an option for how much? Do you know how much you can pay for an option? You should all know that. What's the smallest amount you can put down to buy an option?
$6.25.
$6.25. Okay, $6.25, and that will control 100 shares of stock. Okay, that is 1/16th. Now, it's not usually wise to buy options at 1/16th because in the market they're usually probably worthless. Okay, but I have found some pretty good bargains at 1/8th, which is $12.50. And sometimes they're laying around there and they get too cheap. I can remember 2 months ago there were some index options that were selling for 1/8th, and they looked really good. And basically I bought those options. Then I went to Florida to an ISI seminar. I figured I can't watch the options. I sold them because I couldn't watch them, and then they went up to 3/4. So in some cases you can find some really good buys, especially at the lower prices. But before we begin, I want to talk about some of the psychological nature to this game, which is very critical. I believe that most option investors fail not because they're not using the right techniques, although most of them don't use the right techniques. But it's not that. They fail because they don't enter this game with the proper mental framework and with the proper discipline and with the proper plan. In other words, they go in and ride by the seat of their pants. I think in the options markets, if you ride by the seat of your pants, you are sure to fail under all circumstances. Because when you buy an option is a side bet. The only problem with this side bet is what? It has only so much time before it does what? Expires, right? It only has so much time. It's like a melting ice cube. So when you pay money for an option and you sit there and do nothing, which most people do, it normally will do what? Expire. Yet through the life of that option, there's a lot of actions you can take that might generate a profit. I had somebody send me their portfolio, and they were a subscriber. And they sent me this portfolio, and they had a huge number of options that they bought. They hadn't made money on any of them. I think 1 out of 25 options made money. Now, only about 4 or 5 of those 40 or 50 options they bought were from our recommendations. But they lost money on those too, and those were good option positions. They actually did pay off. If they would have done what? If they would have monitored the position. But they just sat there and let those options do what? Expire. And the problem without a game plan is that if you just let the options expire, most of them are going to expire worthless. And if you don't have a game plan, you're dead. Okay? The problem is with options, if you have inertia, and most people have inertia in the markets, that's why they stay in stocks too long, you're dead with options because they just vanish overnight. Now, this is under option buying conditions. And by the way, most investors, small investors, are involved in option buying. Now, on the other side of the coin is option writing. Now, how many understand what option writing is right now? How many don't understand what option writing is? Raise your hand if you don't understand. Come on, let's be honest. Okay, how many went to the casino last night and gambled? How many played Keno? Anybody play Keno? How many bet on the sports games? Well, you know what a Keno person is called? That isn't behind there, going to give you the Keno. Do you know what they're called? They're called Keno writers. Okay? They're called Keno writers. When you go to the sports book to make a bet on a basketball game, I did great on that yesterday. Okay, when you go down there to make a bet, do you know what those people in the back who take your bets are called? They're called sports writers. Okay? They're called sports writers. A writer is a person who does what? A writer is a person who takes the bet. He takes the bet instead of doing what? Making it. Okay? That's what an option writer is. He is a person who is doing what? Taking the bet. And this is the only game on earth. This is why it's so great. This is the only game on earth. Options is the only game on earth where you can be the what? You, as a small investor, can be the what? The writer. There is no other game where you can be the writer. You cannot be the bank. It's going to cost you too much to open up a bank, isn't it? Right? You cannot be a casino. I mean, maybe you can. I don't know how much money you have. Can you open up a casino? I doubt it. Okay? You can't be the house, except in only one game on earth. And that is what? Options. That's it. That's the beauty of options, is that you can open up your own casino. There's no other place on earth you can do that. That's what I love about options, is I can, not only can I go out there and buy options and be a speculator, but I can also go out there and be a what? Be the casino. So we're going to be discussing the speculator or the option buying side of the game, and also the what? The speculator side, where you're taking the bet instead of making it. And all of you could be an option writer if you wanted to. Now, maybe you don't want to, but you can if you wish. Okay? Okay, we're going to talk, first of all, about what's your expectations. I'm sure you came here to make money. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How many came here strictly to protect their portfolios? We got all speculators here? Is that what this is? Let me tell you about the option buying side of the game. And I'm always surprised by the results. We've been writing a newsletter since 1982. There's been one of my newsletters which I combined with one I have right now, started in 1977. I started writing newsletters in 1973 on options when the exchanges opened. So I've been writing these newsletters a long time. And in 1982, I started to identify the fact that one of the areas most investors who are into the options markets start out as option buyers. So there's no reason for me to go into an option writing newsletter. Nobody would buy it. All right? So I decided I want to really concentrate on the option buying side. For one thing, anybody can play the game. I mean, if you could buy an option for $6.25, anybody who wants to buy options can play the game. The question is, how much do you want to invest? Okay, so we started this part of the newsletter in 1983. And one thing we knew in 1983, if you studied the pricing process of options, we discovered that option pricing, the low-priced options selling for 1/8, 1/4, 1/2, these are $50, $25, $12.50. These low-price options, although normally they are overpriced, the pricing models have a tendency to misprice options at the ends of what we call the log normal curve, which means that the cheap options have a tendency to be what? Underpriced. Okay? The cheap options have a tendency to be underpriced. The pricing model has a problem with options at the lower ends of those curves. And knowing this, I started to look for what I called underpriced options. Now, the beauty of the options market over all other markets, this is the biggest advantage that option has over all other markets, is that you can mathematically measure what an option is worth. Okay? You can mathematically measure if you got a bargain or not. You can't do that with stock. I mean, how do you know whether Apple is worth $38 a share or $16 a share? You don't know. Right? You don't know that about your home. What is your home worth? Well, everybody thinks their home is worth at least $20,000 more than it's worth. Right? Okay? What is a bar of gold worth? Who knows what a bar of gold is worth? I mean, in the market they're telling you a value, but you don't know the true value of that asset, correct? But in options, you can go into a computer, or if you can mathematically go out the formula, you can use the formula. The one they most use is called the Black and Scholes model. You put it into that program, and it will tell you what the option should be priced at. It gives you a mathematical value. So you can easily measure whether an option is what? Overpriced or underpriced. Now, the problem is 99% of all investors don't know that. They don't have a computer program to measure what an option is worth. They never evaluate whether it's a good value or not. They just do what? I like this stock. I like this commodity. Buy me an option on that stock or commodity, right? That's their approach. I mean, it's just take any horse in the barn. Okay, that's their approach. They don't know that you can measure what an option is worth. They just go out there and they just, buy an option. Okay, you see what I'm saying? But in the options markets, the whole key to success, and this is the thing I'm going to say 100 times this week or the next 2 days. What's the key to success in options? Well, what's the key to success in real estate? What's the key to success in real estate? Location, 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 right? I sure found that out. Okay, what is the key to success in options? Price, price, price. If we all keep that in our mind, we're going to be very successful.